call this meeting of the Board of Education to order. Chris, can we have a roll call?
Mrs. Detzel?
Here.
Mr. Harlow?
Here.
Mr. Heather?
Here.
Mr. Detzel?
Here.
Mr. Engel?
Here.
Would you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have the approval of the minutes.
Yes, these are the approval for the regular minutes from December 14, 2015. The treasurer and superintendent recommend the Board of Education approve the minutes as listed.
So moved. Second.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not used to this yet. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any questions? We'll call for the vote. We have 4 yeses, and Bob was not on the board at the time, so he abstained. Move on to the next item. Michael, do we have a legislative update?
Yes, we do. One of the things coming out of Columbus last month that didn't get a whole lot of attention because of the federal Every Student Succeeds Act, the Successor No Child Left Behind passing. One of the things that came out is that the Ohio Constitution Modernization Committee voted to actually retain the thorough and efficient clause in the Ohio Constitution. It's something that was put in the original, well, it's not really the original Ohio Constitution since Ohio's been a state since 1803 and this Constitution goes to 1851, but they do have a modernization committee that kind of looks over the state constitution about every 20 years or so, and they're going through that process right now. So that clause will remain apparently in the Constitution, and really what's happening now is everyone is still trying to figure out what the Every Student Success Act really means for local school districts and even for the state education agencies as well.
Okay, thank you. Jim, do we have a Butler Tech update?
Not tonight. Our organizational meeting is next Tuesday, and then we'll have a update at our next meeting.
Okay, so we will move into special reports. We have Kevin Gale, who's the principal of Montfort Heights Elementary. Discuss building goals.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm here with Caitlin Randall, my instructional coach and assistant. She's here as well. So off to a great start. Caitlin and I are both brand new to Montfort Heights this year, but we've had a great first half of the year getting acclimated and making sure everything's kind of on the up and up as far as we jumped right in. This is our first goal that we came up with, percentage of students meeting or exceeding growth on the MAP, Measure for Academic Progress testing from fall 2015 to spring 2016 will be as follows. Those were kind of our benchmarks set based on last year's MAP data. So you can see different percentages for each grade based on what we thought was achievable for this year. If we take a look at the big picture, kind of the achievement data, you can see where we started in the fall and winter for reading, and then the math, fall and winter. And just to kind of highlight there, the red numbers indicate that the percentile dropped or there was no change. So you can see, we have some work to do here in a couple of areas where you see the red. The green, that means the percentile increased 10% or more. So, we made significant gains in first grade reading and math, and down here in fifth grade reading, we jumped 10% more. But a lot of the other ones, essentially, were kind of staying the same there from fall to winter. This was testing that was just completed before the break. So that kind of gives us a big picture look at our achievement. Then when we look at our growth goal, if you look at this first one, this is our map reading growth goals and the progress to those. The green represents the goal. That's where our goal percent is. And then the yellow dot, you can see that's where we are as of our most recent round of testing. So we're close or meeting it in several grades, but we still have a little bit of work to do in a few other grades there. So you can see the different targets based on that goal that we set. The next slide shows the same thing as far as the map, but for math this time. You can see that again, the green is the goal, and the orange dot represents where we currently fell based on the most recent round of testing. So we'll be meeting with the building leadership team within this next week, and we'll be discussing these results and talking about some strategies and things that these different teams can do as far as working on getting to our targets. Our second goal, deals with our students with disabilities. Students with disabilities meeting or exceeding growth targets for the MAP testing from fall to spring. And our growth goal is 65%. We kind of lump K-5 math and K-5 reading together because of the number of students at each grade. If you break it down by grade level, there's only 5 students with disabilities in kindergarten. So we're at kindergarten, 1 out of 5 met the target, so we kind of lump them together so you get a better representation. Our goal is 65%, and we're currently at 57% in the math and reading. Interestingly, it came out the same percentage even though there were different students, so different grades, so there were some variances there even though it came out the same percentage. Our third goal for the building dealt with the teachers being at applying level on domain 1, design question 1, element 1, using learning goals and scales by the end of the evaluation cycle in 2016. Evidence was collected during 68 observations. First semester of this year, the teacher average was a 2.53. The target for this element is a 3. So we're getting there. We can look at the next slide, shows a breakdown of the number at each rating and with the score. So for the score of 4, we had none, but 3, we had 42. So the majority of our teachers that during those observations are exhibiting that at the applying level. And we met in December. We discussed this progress on that building goal and looked at that specifically and talked about ways in which what it looks like at the applying level with our leadership team. These are some other things, the ways that we're meeting our building goals. We've implemented some positive behavior supports this year. One of the things that we've implemented is called Magnificent Musketeer. It's a recognition for students for being respectful, being responsible, being safe, being problem solvers. Teachers, any staff member can hand out a little green card. The student puts their name on it. There's a drawing each Friday on the morning announcements. And so far, we've given out over 2,000 Magnificent Musketeers so far this year. And out of those 2,000, 192 have been drawn to be recognized on the morning announcements with a prize. So that's pretty cool stuff. The kids just, it's great to come up and be on TV. Think they're famous. Another thing that I implemented, being a new principal, positive principal phone calls. I've made almost 100 positive phone calls, and it's a nice way to talk to parents and to make that connection. They're so used to, oh, you're a principal. Oh no, what did my kid do? And then good news. So it's a great way for me to meet parents and talk to them on the phone, and kind of build those relationships, make that connection. The next two, focusing on identifying critical content and focus on helping students process that new content. We're working on that, kind of works in with our last point there, differentiation to ensure all students' needs are met. We're sending some teachers to PD throughout the year for the new air testing that Hamilton County is offering. Also working on mindset and growth versus a fixed mindset. We have a family involvement night coming up at the end of January where we have a speaker come in for the parents and a movie night for the kids where parents can learn about having that growth mindset and and kind of encouraging that with their own children. We'll be also spending some time on our Professional Development Day, January 15th, learning about growth and fixed mindsets. That will help take us into the differentiation piece and meeting students where they are. We've also had ongoing technology professional development throughout this year. Montford Heights received all new teacher computers this year, and every classroom received an Eno board, which is kind of like a smart board. So we've been receiving professional development on that throughout the year, and that will be continuing through the rest of the year. So lots of great things going on to help us grow and become better at what we're doing at Montford Heights. We've got a great staff there, and everybody's on board and working hard to learn the new things that are coming about with the technology. So any questions, comments?
Kevin, it looked like first grade, with the goals and what was met, just above, way above, and then it dips back down. What do you think is the reason for that? I think it was actually I think it was in both, but
Yeah,
math.
first grade jumped green both reading and math. If you notice, kind of I think a district trend that we talked about is kindergarten seems to kind of be flat or lower, and then in first grade they get that jump start and they really get to moving on that. A lot of different philosophy for that, but I don't know if any of them are proven.
How long has Montford Heights been using the MAP tests?
This is third year, I believe. Third year.
Okay. Is there any trends you're seeing in like the cohort data where you put up there like the fourth graders this year, but they were third graders last year, and how they're second graders year before? Is there how they're doing as a cohort?
Yeah, that first slide that I showed you back, that actually is looking at last year's. Well, it was based on last year's
Oh, okay.
students. That's how the goal was set.
Oh, okay,
When we
okay.
set the goal here. Well,
Oh, and then you got that. Okay.
touch you here. There we go. These were set based on, so the first graders was set based on their kindergarten.
Okay.
Okay.
And if they hit those, that would be an improvement, or okay,
Right, we would say that they made
more progress.
adequate progress.
Great. Thank you.
Any other questions?
The data you put up there shows your staff's really doing a great job, so make sure they know that.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any report from employee organizations? I think Kevin Kane is coming up.
Well, I've said some congratulations individually, but on behalf of the Northwest Association of Educators, I want to congratulate Bob and Jim on your election to the board, and to Pam and Bob for your election as the officers of this board. With passing the levy in the fall, we know we have a lot of work to do over the next 2 years to get some new buildings built and to a lot of changes going on. And so we, as an association, dedicate our support to this board and to the administration to get it done and to build our community, to build our schools, and to build the successes like what Kevin shared at Montford Heights. And so I just wanted to come up here and share that with you and congratulate you, and look forward to another wonderful year.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Do we have any reports from classified employees? Any reports from school-related organizations? I have not received any community comment cards, so we'll move on to certificated licensed personnel retirements and resignations.
Yes, for certificated licensed personnel, you will find 1 acceptance of certificated resignation, 2 acceptance of tutor procedural resignation, 1 acceptance of home instructor procedural resignation, 2 acceptance of extra duty resignations, 1 acceptance of extra duty procedural resignation. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the certificated licensed personnel retirements and resignations as listed.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments? Let's call for the vote. It's been approved 5-0. Move on to classified personnel.
Yes, for classified retirements and resignations, you will find one acceptance of classified resignation. The superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the classified retirements and resignations as listed.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments regarding the retirement or resignation? Okay, Chris, call for the vote. It's been approved 5-0. And we'll move on to vendor contracts.
Yes, for vendor contracts, you will find two new vendor contracts. The superintendent and treasurer recommend the Board of Education authorize the vendor contracts as listed.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions on the vendor contracts?
Yes, down here it says, there's a asterisk, it says paid for with auxiliary or federal non-public grant monies, but nothing up there is asterisk or either one of these things. That's just left over like a template.
No, that's just a standard on our template to show you which ones are for our non-public funds, because we have several usually during the month. That shows you that this month there were none.
Great, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Okay, Chris? The vendor contracts are approved 5-0. We'll move on to certificate and licensed personnel items.
Yes, for certificated and licensed personnel items, we have two approval of tutors, one approval of a home instructor, one approval of certificated leave of absence, one approval of an extra duty contract, one resolution to hire a non-licensed coach. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the certificated licensed personnel items as listed.
So moved.
Second? It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or concerns about the certificated licensed personnel items? Okay, Chris? Motion passes 5-0. Move on to a revised board policy CBA.
Yes, this is revisiting revised board policy CBA, qualifications and duties of the superintendent. It was presented at the last meeting. The only change is before the superintendent could recommend hires, and folks were hired, but it's not official until we come to a board meeting. This also allows me to accept resignations, and they don't become official to a board meeting. So therefore, you don't need to have the 4 board meetings in July. So the superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the board policy CBA as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? Okay, call for the vote. And we'll move on to classified personnel items.
Yes, for classified personnel items, you will find 2 approval of initial appointments, 3 approval of classified leave of absence, and 1 approval of change in status. Superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the classified personnel items as listed.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments on the classified personnel items? Okay, Chris? Motion passes 5-0. And we'll move on to classified personnel revised job descriptions.
Yes, these are the same job descriptions that were presented as the last board meeting. We are seeking approval for these new revised job descriptions. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the revised job descriptions as listed.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions on the revised job descriptions for classified personnel? Okay, Chris? Motion passes 5-0. And it looks like we have more revised job descriptions.
Yes, the next relate to the treasurer's office. They are revised job descriptions that were presented last time. The attached revised job descriptions are being submitted for approval. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the revised job descriptions as listed.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? Okay, Chris? Motion passes 5-0, and now we'll have an update on our master facilities project.
Yeah, I just wanted to revisit some of the timelines. We had our president's PTA meeting today, and they were curious as to timelines. Remember that we rejected the CMR and put out the design build RFQ. So in January, we will get the RFP back. We'll receive the RFQ from the design builders about the middle of January. We'll prepare a short list, and then we will do a request for proposal. At that time, I'll need 2 active board members to become part of a committee with Chris, myself, and Amy, and we will go through the process of picking our design build. We will conduct interviews in private and then come with a final recommendation to the board at the meeting in February. At March, we look to award the contract to a successful design build firm at the very beginning of the month, the first board meeting in March, and then we hope to break ground anywhere between June and August is what they should look for, which gives us plenty of time to open all 3 buildings in August 2018. Also wanted to address, last time, still looking at property and what are some options. I think Chris had mentioned last time, looking at the hospital property, we're banning dead end into Pippin and then you turn right behind the nursery. So we are working with Kevin Maloff to look at that property and see what our possibilities are. And again, I want to remind everybody why we're looking for the property changes. Our goal is with the ELP money that we applied through the state funding system, which runs about $15 million. And then with the additional $10 million that we put in renovations for Colerain L and Colerain Middle, we've got $25 million sitting there on a new building for a K through 8 for Colerain L and Colerain Middle. So if we can come up with another $6 to $7 million, we could build a new K through 8 campus without a bond issue coming up to the taxpayers. And so we are trying to maneuver properties, do what's best for the district, looking at the Pleasant Run Elementary site, the Taylor site, and the Struble site, so that we can put the building out where everybody can see it, for one, but 2, also get some valuable land where we could possibly trade, sell, or lease it. We're working very closely with the county and Colerain Township and making sure that we are hand in hand with them, because our goal here is to, one, we know we're building new buildings. You're starting to see through our principal presentations, our academics are starting to rise up. So those 2 come together. We want as many new families to move into our district as possible. So we've got some valuable land where some developing could go on. The property at Hamilton Avenue for Pleasant Run Elementary is very valuable, being that close to 275. And then we have the Welch property, the Beavis property, and possibly the Struble property if we can get the hospital land. So.
What about the Lake Gloria property?
The Lake Gloria is not looking good because of the lake and afraid of what they dig down into.
I think.
Yeah. So it's not 100% out, but it's about 70% out. But the township has been really great, Frank and them working with us and trying to see what lands are available. Because again, the goal is to purchase property where the school could be built and then surround the school with more houses for the community. So there's all kinds of properties out there. Problem is the township only owns one other piece of property, so they're seeing what else they can come up with. So. But that's where we are for now. We'll meet all our timelines. New schools will open August 2018. Everything's on track just like it should be.
Great. Okay, at this time, we have community comments. If there's anybody in the audience that has any questions on anything that was discussed this evening, seeing all of you rush up here, I guess we'll move on to the next item. And that is board members' comments. We'll start with Chris. Do you have any comments? No? Michael?
Happy 2016, everybody. Look forward to a productive calendar year, especially as we get these buildings underway, and also realize that it's already about halfway through the school year, give or take. So I know everybody's working hard and trying to improve our student achievement and our culture of respect and our culture of high expectations. So just happy 2016.
Okay, Bob?
I'd like to thank the voters in the school district for putting me on the school board, and I'm anxious to get started and hopefully make a positive impact to the students and the community. So here I am.
Okay, Jim?
I'd like to second what Bob just said and wish him good luck, and we're ready to go for 2016. Let's get these schools started.
Okay, and I would just like to say this is an exciting time to live in the Northwest Local School District. We've got a board that I believe we're all going to work together. We've
passed a levy very overwhelmingly, and we're talking new schools. I mean, we're talking breaking ground 6 months from now, so or maybe even less than that. So very, very exciting time. Just encourage everybody to stay involved and come to the meetings, because I think we're going to see a lot going on. I know we're going to have some community input when it comes time to designing these buildings, and we appreciate all the input we can get. So with that, Happy New Year, and I'll take a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any other comments? Okay, Chris? Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you. Have a great night.